it's Tracy with your monthly channeled oracle reading for the month of July 2015. Hello, hello, hello. So we have made it through June. Perhaps we're parched or perhaps we're tired, but we should have arrived in a new physical location by this time. If you go back and you listen to the June 2015 reading, that's what it was about. And you know, if you've been here for a while, I touch back on the previous month or week first, and then I go get my spirit guide Whitehawk, and we find out what's going to go on in the upcoming month in this case. So let's just briefly touch back, and I always get comfortable, on June. And as I said, it's about arriving in a new physical location. So whether you moved, left a relationship, left a job, you know, think of all the other physical locations, those people leaving school and coming back home for the summer, or finding jobs for the summer. There are all kinds of things that could mean. And although we would come through that new, or come to that new physical location, Whitehawk did express that there would be some pain in getting there. There'd be sadness, and then on top of the sadness, there would be anger, and a great example of that is, for instance, I lost my uncle at the beginning of the month. And for a lot of people who are suffering with grief, oftentimes what happens is they don't feel the sadness, they feel the anger, and that's because underneath that anger is sadness. So what it becomes is the primary emotion is really sadness, whereas the anger is a secondary emotion, but it comes up, almost masking, you know, so that you don't see the sadness, but real underneath that there is sadness. So that would be why those two emotions come up. And so in my case, the correlation to the June 2015 reading would be the death of my uncle. That certainly puts us all in a new physical location, as well as putting him in a much nicer, gentler, heavenly place than earth. But we're working on it, right, guys? That's why we're all here. We're all working on it. So that was June. So let's go get Whitehawk and see what he has to say for the upcoming July. I'm gonna yawn, sorry. It's just one of those things that happens when I channel. Indeed, he says. Yawning is good, he says. Yawning is a release. Not only does it release toxins, he says, it releases emotions, it releases emptiness, it releases fatigue. There is so much that is good in a yawn, child. So never apologize for yawning. Now, he says, he starts, it was a difficult month, wasn't it, children? Admit it. Come right out here to me and admit it. Just say that was the craziest, kamikaziest month I have ever had to come through in such a long, long time, Whitehawk. Say it. And I feel everyone's bewilderment, sadness. I feel the anxiety that came along with that. And now there's like a fatigue and exhaustion, a release of just coming down. And for some of us, that can be a bit of come as a bit of a shock or a surprise. And I'm feeling a lot of you with your adrenals in the back, which signifies exhaustion, right? Whitehawk continues, yes, indeed. It was a debilitating month for many, was it not? Yes, but a necessary month, he says, to come through. And to continue to come through, he says, in this upcoming month. Although you will ask yourself, why are you doing this? Why have you chosen to take this path? Perhaps what would seem to be a more difficult path, a less nice path than the previous path. And when he says that, I see me running through like swamp water. And as I'm trying to get through the water, and it's waist high, the seaweed's getting all over me. So it's almost like it's more than just trying to get through water, as that can be difficult on its own. It's about all the other stuff that's coming along with it that you're trying to, it's pulling you back as well. And so you're trying to get this other stuff off and move forward through it. But at the same time, there's all this other stuff that's coming along with it. He says, yes, indeed. He says, you're questioning your motives now. You're questioning, why would you leave the sanctity of a very comfortable place for the craziness of where you've just entered? And for that, I will tell you, he says, for the betterment of yourself, for the betterment of your soul. He says, just for the betterment. I know right now it seems a little crazy, a little choppy again, because I feel that anxiety, coming out in us. But Whitehawk says, but I assure you, by the end of the month, it will lessen. And every month thereafter, it will lessen even more, children. So it's just that now we're in the initial stages of it. And so we are questioning ourselves. And this is a very, very normal place to be, children. So do not think that somehow you're unusual or you're the worst person ever to think that you should somehow go back as to moving forward, for you or not. But for heaven's sakes, do not go back. You shall not go back, he says. And so this month, he says, although it will be rewarding, it will have its share of rewards and its share of joy and its share of fun. It will also have its share of challenging times. And he says, and it's funny because oftentimes, we don't like to swear because, but times that will really just are going to piss you off, guys, he says. Really, no, really, they will. It will really just piss you off. But no matter, you just need to get through it. You need to go through it to get to the other side. So, how do you go through it and get to the other side? One day at a time, children. One day at a time. In that one day, you might have a horrendous day. You might be filled with so much anger, with so much anguish, with so many questions. But the next day is a better day, and you get up, and you feel alive, and you feel as if you know where you're going again, and you move forward a little bit in that day. And the close of the day happens, and the next day comes, and that is the only way you will ever get through this. For indeed, if you look behind, you will miss a lot. And if you look ahead, you will fear a lot. So we need to stay right here in the middle, present, every day. And I know that you have been listening, and I know you know how to ground yourself, and I know you know how to get out of nature and by water, because we have constantly rammed that into your head, have we not, children? And so that is what you need to consistently do for this month to help get through it. Consistently, he says. Not just once a month, every day, he says, if you can, just for a little bit to get outside to clear the energy. I pray and I trust, he says, that you will be able to do it. But note, we are here for you almost every day, he says, with a reading, helping you through your days ahead. God bless, little ones. God bless you, he says, for listening and heeding what I say. God bless. Thanks, Whitehawk. Actually, when you think about it, yawns are really great, right? If you are full of anxiety, do you ever notice when you do yawn, it does bring you down, or where you're so tired and so exhausted and so wired that when you finally have that yawn, it is the come down, isn't it? You finally get to come down and relax. So you got to think of yawns that way. All right, well, I don't look forward to moving through the swamp water this month, but we'll see how it goes. You know, every day is a different day, so we'll just take it one day at a time and stay in the present, as he has said. No worries, we're all here together. We'll get through it, and in the end, there is much joy there, and throughout it, too, there is a lot of joy. You'll see little glimpses of light as you go through. I guess the analogy I like to use the most is when you're trying to lose weight. You know, you start off going like, how the heck am I going to lose 20 pounds or whatever, right? So you can't focus on the 20. You got to focus on that one day, that 1 week of eating, right? And so you do your best throughout that week. You get on the scale, and holy smokes, you've lost 2 pounds. And all of a sudden that 2 pounds motivates you, right? And you feel better. And so then you're able to continue forth throughout your goal of losing that 20 pounds. And it becomes 4 pounds, 8 pounds, 10 pounds. And you're like, you are on it now. And it's the same thing when it comes to ascending or changing locations or healing. There's always that crack of light that will help to propel you forward through it. There'll be a smile, or someone will tell you a story, or you'll realize, you know, you're in a new location and you are just losing weight naturally for something that you've tried to do for years and years. But because you're in a new location, you're in a happier place, and you are more authentically yourself than you have ever been. You're losing the weight naturally. And you're happier day by day. There is more happiness and more joy in your life. There may be other things that are hard on you because you're learning other things, or you might have financial struggles, or you might become lonely within that period of time or something. But you know what? There's always that little silver lining there that's going to save you and is going to propel you forward. So keep that in mind as we go through July. Come back to this often, listen to it often, okay? And it'll replenish you, and it will remind you. If you enjoyed what you've seen here, guys, give me a thumbs up. And you know I'm available for personal readings at intuitivetracyroy.com. Always in the description box. You just have to click on the link, and it will take you there. And then join us on Facebook, Google, Plus, and Twitter for our daily messages that will help you get through this month, perhaps even more so. I know Whitehawk was helping us get through June. All right, guys, as always, I'm very grateful for your company and support. We shall see you soon. Take care. God bless.